Our first question comes from Cyril Matthews, and Cyril asks, Westminster seems to be slowly waking up to the challenges posed by declining birth rates in the UK. But there isn't consensus on the solution to this problem. Where do you draw the line on immigration? Can you really promote larger domestic families and advanced economies? So my question to you both is, what's worse, population growth or declining birth rates?
It's a really difficult question because it's an issue which very few Western governments have found a solution for, if any. The evidence seems to be that even if you offer serious incentives for families to grow and for women in particular to be benefited, it doesn't always result in a particularly measurable difference to the birth rate. But I think the Western solution is actually, in the long term, maybe makes short-term sense. In the long term, much less so. Importing people to do jobs that we think we can't or won't do ultimately turns into something of a Ponzi scheme, because you've imported these workers, but obviously they stay, they have their own families. In time, those people will need people to care for them. And so rather than looking at ways in which we can make life easier for families, it's an incredibly difficult time. We basically import more and more people. You need to have an ever-growing workforce to sustain. And in the long term, it's harmful to social cohesion. We've taken in too many people than it's possible to integrate easily, I believe. Integrating large numbers of people is much like encouraging birth rates. It's not something that many countries in the world have ever done successfully. And we have embarked on this experiment without ever asking the British people if they were happy with this.
Totally.
And so I do blame successive politicians for their laziness and short-termism. It's actually a classic example of kind of treasury brain to say we just import more people, it's good for the economy. I'm glad that we are belatedly realising that that is not a long-term solution to anything, but I fear it may be too late.